another episode of the Free Life channel, and this is the first video that I've made this week, and I'm very happy to be sitting here sharing because I feel as if I have something that is of value to be shared. Now, if you watch some of my earlier videos, I say that I don't do this YouTube for popularity or for money. I'm doing this for myself to measure my own growth. And sometimes you have to, in order to measure your growth or to have something worth sharing, you have to live life and experience life. And that's what I've been doing. I've had a wonderful week, both of ups and downs, here and around, and so I will be sharing with you some of the things that I've witnessed and some of the things that I've learned this past week. And before I go about doing that, I want to welcome everybody into the season of Pisces. I'm a Pisces, and I don't know if zodiac signs and horoscopes are your thing. I don't put all of my fortune into these ideas, but I do think that there are some truths to what zodiac signs and stars and energy levels represent. And so being a Pisces, I know that having emotions and being in tune with emotions and thinking about life in a very in-depth manner is something that I do. And so I was reading horoscopes this morning, and it says that, as we transition into the Pisces season, that everybody is going to start becoming more in tune with themselves and their emotions. And I think that is wonderful. And I hope that everybody finds a sense of healing, a sense of purpose, and a sense of connection with themselves during this next season. And, for life in general. I hope that this time can be of starting blocks and everybody can build their foundation of healing and growth, and then they can have prosperous and beautiful lives in the future. So I was speaking with one of my friends. Big shout out to Derik. If you're watching this, man, I appreciate you. He put me on to a wonderful book by an author named Osho, and it's titled Freedom, Love, and Aloneness. And it talks about this idea that we need to love ourselves before we can go about loving the rest of the world. And I think that is so true. And it's really interesting because every book that you read that talks about self-help or growth, it talks about loving oneself. And that is such a hard thing to actually do, but yet so easy if you just accept what is. Perhaps you're a bad person or you're a good person. I don't think there's such thing as good or bad. I do think, however, there's positive and negative behavioral patterns or emotions. And I think to love oneself means just simply accepting whatever is going on right now, and then recognizing, because you have love for yourself, that you don't beat yourself up and you don't punish yourself for feeling one way or the other. And I think when we talk about this idea of love, we talk about this idea from, we have to love others. But how are you ever able to worship the existence of another being if you don't accept or worship yourself? And I was having these thoughts, and I have a friend of mine, and we were talking, and he said to me, Kyle, imagine that you're responsible to take care of a child, okay, this innocent child that has not had the opportunity to experience the real world yet. And what would you do for this child? What if this child made a mistake? Would you forgive him or her? What would you do? And so I answered, and he said, now imagine that child is just your own sense of self. How would you nourish this child within you? And I said, and I really was taken aback by this concept. And I was like, wow, I think it would be a really beautiful thing to imagine there's like a small you running around, and how would you take care of that person? And that's how we should start to take care of ourselves. And when we love ourselves, we have now the power to actually love others. Because when you radiate love, you understand that loving and feeling love is such an amazing emotion that you just want to share it. Because the love, it starts to burst out of you and you can't contain it. And so you give it to the world. And I think this is where this idea that if you heal a part of yourself, you're actually healing a collective consciousness. You're healing the whole world in a way. And so how have I taken this lesson and applied this to my life? Well, I was riding my bike this past week, as I do almost every day, and 2 days specifically, yesterday and Tuesday. I was riding, listening to my audiobook in my headphones, and I'm coming across the street and I see a car coming and I slam on my brakes twice. This happened and I almost got hit, and I'm so thankful that I didn't get hit. I'm still in one piece. And in this moment of almost being hit by a car on my bike, I could have chosen a variety of different ways to react. However, both times, what I did choose was to just keep going. I looked at the person and just kept going, right? I didn't say anything, I didn't yell, I just kept going. Because I asked myself, what is the point to make this person feel guilty? Why should I berate this person or make this my emotions overbearing on this person? I have no idea what this person is going through, and maybe they're in a hurry, maybe they're running late. So I just decided to let that go instead of being angry. And I feel, maybe I'm wrong, but a lot of people would have said something or would have been mad or, hey, watch it. But when you do that, what you do is you create anger, and then you make the rest of the world angry. And so maybe this person goes off into the future of their lives and whatever they were doing, and they have this rage inside of them because some guy on a bike was being negative. And so I think it's important to not allow yourself to get to a negative being, because that's the healing of other people. And so I know that when I was almost, hit by the car, my heart started racing. I got nervous and scared, But I also know that because I was feeling that way, that the driver of the vehicles was probably also feeling that way. And what I like to think is that they went on about their lives in a calm manner, and they were able to be more mindful and live in a place of acceptance and gratitude that nothing bad did happen. And so that's where I think the power lies in these stories particularly, because if I was to be angry, who knows what would have happened in my future. But all I do know is that I'm sitting here in this moment and I'm great. I feel light. I don't feel heavy. I don't feel burdened. And I'm not saying that these two situations is what made me feel this way, but what I do know is that I didn't allow negative energy to come inside of me, which I think helps create this sense of positivity. And with that, in me understanding the way I was behaving and coming from this sense of behavior from a place of mindfulness, I accept myself and I love myself more, and I'm able to just be. And so my next story is that I was out with a friend of mine. We were having a couple beers, and I said to myself, wow, alcohol is an amazing tool. It makes you feel so courageous. You can do anything in the world. And then I woke up the next morning and I was a little bit hungover, a little bit sluggish, and I said, wow, alcohol is not the nice thing. And I laughed because it's so interesting that we as people, we use drugs and alcohol to reach this idea of courage. And if you remember, courage is the lowest level of positivity. It's the changing. It's where you decide to say, I can't versus I won't. And then when you get into courage, you say, I will, or I know I have the ability to achieve what it is I want. And so I started to think, when you are in courage, you're vibrating at a high level. And when you treat yourself poorly, by negative thinking, negative diets, eating crap, drinking, smoking, all these things, you have to work so much harder. Being constantly positive, especially when you're so used to being negative, it's exhausting to have a mental workout. It's really exhausting. And so I realize more and more how important it is to take care of yourself, to eat the right foods, to take vitamins, and to supplement negative behaviors with positive ones. Because when you're trying to evolve and grow yourself, it takes so much energy that you don't have time to waste your energy. And that for me has been life-changing. And And I want to be a healthier person physically so that I have more energy to focus on my mental health and my mental capacity of evolution. You know, I've ever since I was a child, I've been working out, always taking care of my body, working out one day, twice a day, you know, every day for the whole week. But now I've kind of transitioned into this mental capacity, and I realize now that perhaps taking care of my mind is, I have to be way more disciplined in terms of my diet than I ever had to be taking care of my physical body. You know, I could drink all night, wake up the next day, go to the gym, work out, like nothing even happened. But now I don't want to do that because I realize that I can't continue to be like that if I want to evolve. And that is a way that I also am starting to love myself. And when you love yourself, you're able to love the whole world. You don't see love as this idea of attachment. You don't see this love as this idea of another person. You realize that you are love. I am love. And therefore, you radiate that. And people in love becomes love for the world. Love becomes love for life. And it's a sense of detachment. And there's a lot of power in that. And so now I want to talk about this idea that love, why it's so hard to love ourselves, right? It's because society has filled our minds with, you're not good enough. You need this product to achieve this level of success. You need to look like this in order to be this kind of person. And it's always making us second guess ourselves, and it's always making us not feel comfortable within ourselves, as if there's something else that we need to be doing. And it makes us feel guilty. You know, it's like, well, yeah, I was out drinking, but I accept that I'm doing that, okay? At any moment I can change this, but it's not to feel guilty about doing that. It's about to enjoy doing that. And then when you're not enjoying it, move on, and then go on about doing something that you do enjoy. And so I think it's really important that we start to deconstruct these mental blocks that we have from what society thinks is best for us, and really start looking within. Because when you look within, there's this light that comes out from here and it just shoots. And when that light is power, that light is love, that light is healing. And I want to wrap up this video by encouraging everybody to meditate today and to appreciate their lives and to love themselves for exactly who they are in this moment. Forgive yourself for behaving the way you did. Forgive yourself for saying those words. Forgive yourself for not taking care of your body in the past. Forgive yourself for whatever it is you need to forgive yourself for, and recognize that it is okay, but that in this moment, you have the power to change whatever it is about you that you want to be better at. And so with that, I want to wrap up and say have a wonderful day. I love you to everyone. Take care of yourselves, and we see us again soon.